So, Star Citizen 3.22 is now on the PTU and out of Evocati, and the highlight feature of the patch is structural salvage. The idea of how this will work has gone through many iterations, ideas, discussions over the years, but I gotta say, the way it's been implemented in the game is not what I expected. It's a surprise, to say the least. My goal for this video is to first show you exactly how it works, give you a little guide on structural salvage, but also explain my issues with this first implementation and maybe a bit of what we can do to fix it. Now, quickly, before we get into that, let me take a brief detour to say that when Hel Scraping was first introduced, it was clearly not for everyone, and the devs came out on Star Citizen Live to explain that they discussed basically how much skill or risk and reward they wanted to add to the specific gameplay, and they felt the game needed some gameplay that was very chill. And we certainly got that with Hel Scraping, and with the cargo refactor tied into that, I really never thought I would enjoy it as much as I did, but it turned out okay. So keep that in mind with my discussions around structural salvage. So let's start out with the Vulture, and I think this was the best improvement to salvage overall, as well as an implementation of structural salvage, but the loop overall period benefits from this. If you haven't read the notes, they finally addressed the issues with the Vulture not really feeling like a solo ship, and how they did that was by creating what they call buffer storage. A salvage ship, whether Hel Scraping or salvaging, doing structural salvage, the ship now has internal storage that you can really interact with. A salvage ship, whether Hel Scraping or salvaging the structure of ships, will now have internal storage that you can't really interact with. Think mining bags, sort of. Then the crafting stations on the ship take that material and move it to sellable boxes. So now the Vulture can salvage its entire cargo hold at one time, spit it out, all 14 SCU into 14 separate 1 SCU containers, so no more going up and down the ladder so much, just one time. It's really awesome, and think about it, you can even fully grab everything in your hull, pull all 14 SCU boxes out, then grab more salvage, go to a sellable location, sell the first 14, go back to the ship, and do it all over again. Pretty cool, right? Now, unfortunately, the Reclaimer works exactly the same way. Why is that unfortunate? Currently, at the time of recording, please remember all of this is subject to change, and I'm going to be honest here, I hope it changes a lot. It can hold 380 SCU in its buffer. Pair this with the mechanics for structural salvage, and I think we have a little bit of a problem. So how does structural salvage work? I will be using the Reclaimer in this example because I think it's actually more simple of a way to explain how it works. Everything is done from the ship's co-pilot seat. Once in the seat, you will press M to extend the salvage claw. Once it's fully extended, you will automatically be in fracturing mode. Once in range of the ship you are trying to break down, simply left-click, and the ship will automatically break into pieces small enough for you to take into the ship. Then right-click your mouse to enter in disintegration mode, and again, simply left-click, and everything automatically is pulled into the ship. The mechanic works exactly like mining if you really think about it, but with none of the skill involved. If you didn't notice, it creates a different commodity from Hel Scraping, construction components. This already is very different experience than expected from the current roadmap, which states it will create refinable materials. I was fully expecting a huge mix of things like titanium, copper, things like that, so it's really been simplified. After that, head down to the cargo bay, and new in the patch, you can create between 1 and 16 SCU boxes in the Reclaimer. For the Vulture, you're still stuck with 1 SCU boxes, but because the box sizes are now so large, there's really no need for an extra player to organize down there. You just do it yourself while in quantum travel to the next ship you're going to salvage in just a couple minutes. The Vulture is a little cooler and the effects are nicer, but in the end, the mechanics are nearly identical and simply very hands-off. So what did you guys think about the new flagship gameplay in 3.22? I personally am very disappointed, as this really goes against the theme of the game overall, not just what I expected for Salvage. It really isn't hands-on or involved as I thought it would be or would have expected it to be. I don't even have to use or move my mouse to touch anything. It's kind of crazy. But because of its simplicity, I think the Reclaimer could be soloed so easily, and the amazing improvements to the Vulture will be overshadowed by the lack of imagination added to the system. Now, Mike, it's just Wave 1 and it's clearly Tier 0 gameplay. You're right, it is Wave 1, but it's not the starting point I was hoping to see for this gameplay. So even as a Tier 1 mechanic, it is far from meeting my expectations for the loop, and I really hope people share my feelings as well on the feature. That's why I'm making the video. Just sound off, hear what you guys think, which I would hope helps prioritize its improvement. If you think you know so much, why don't you make the loop yourself? I fully expect someone to type that down in the comments. That's not my job. As a backer, or just as a person who's playing a video game, our only job is to provide feedback, not solutions. I feel the mode is entirely too easy, simple, and boring, and while also being an absolute cash cow. It's that simple. It's now up to them to hear the feedback, to choose to ignore it if they don't think it's good, or to action how they, the professionals, see fit. I provided a ton of feedback on mining, and they listened for sure, but the results they came up with were far better than anything I could have thought up myself. So it was about, hey, I don't think this is good, I don't think this is fun. That's it. Simple. The ball's now in CIG's court, and in the very short term, I think I would be completely happy with a short statement or something on an ISC, SCL, Spectrum, something like that, stating something along the lines of, we aren't super happy with its current state of gameplay, but we wanted to get some parts of it out to you for feedback and improvements. And maybe some statements about the parts of the game they feel could be improved or could use some work. In the long term, I want them to stick to their own words from the Vulture Q&A. Like mining, we don't want it to be a simple click and leave mechanic, but to require some level of skill to control the return on investment for salvage materials. The current loop is skillless, and CIG could do better. Thanks for watching today. I want to reiterate, they did a really awesome and thoughtful change to the Vulture, and I really think it fits the role of what it was expected to do, an entry-level solo salvage ship. The cargo stations in the salvage bay of the Reclaimer are awesome as well. I like where the mechanic could go, but I am absolutely unhappy where it is today. If you enjoyed the video, please take some time, comment down below, like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.